Enough to join us, Pistons beat writer for the Detroit Free Press, Omari Sankofa II. Omari, thank you so much for your time. How are you today?
No, thank you so much for having me, and I'm doing good. Hope you guys are good as well.
Yes. I assume you've been showing our good friend Hunter Patterson the ropes there in Detroit for a couple of years. Can you tell us about Dennis Schroder and what he brought to the party, so to speak, when he joined a Pistons team that was already very good when he got there?
Yeah, so the Pistons began to, for those unaware, obviously they went from, well, I say obviously, but they went from 14 to 44 wins last season, and they really began to gain steam around late December. And after Jaden Ivey got hurt on New Year's, they needed another ball handler, so they went and got Schroder, obviously, from the Golden State Warriors, and he really came in and just brought a lot of stability, not only just as a vet, but like as a guy who could play both sides of the ball. Just his ability to handle, obviously, get downhill. He's pretty pesky on defense, so he gave the backcourt a lot down the stretch. And I think even beyond just kind of filling in that spot for Jaden Ivey, he gave them just a lot of experience and know-how, which definitely helped them down the stretch.
Hey, Omari, Kyle Draper here, man. Thanks for jumping on, my friend. Hey, let me ask you this, though, because there's this narrative out there that Schroeder is a shot chucker, a shoot-first point guard. How do you think he handled, being a facilitator coming off the bench for the Pistons last year?
I would say he embraced the facilitator role. He certainly wasn't a guy that was afraid to, step up and take a shot when necessary, especially late in games. But, I also thought he did a good job of playing alongside and deferring to Kate Cunningham when necessary. Certainly the distributor role, you could look at the numbers and see he was one of their top playmakers down the stretch once he got there. And I stepped up in the playoffs as well. Of all the bench players, he was probably first or second in minutes. So from what I saw last year, it seemed like he's able to do both. He can step up, but he's also a guy that knows how to, step back and get other guys going.
That's Omari Sankofa from the Detroit Free Press. We know that in today's NBA, teams can't always keep the guys that they would like to keep for various reasons. Would you say Detroit had interest in keeping Dennis Schroder around?
I think they did have interest in keeping him around. Once the news that, with the legal trouble and the gambling problem Malik Beasley's dealing with right now, that kind of forced them to change their plans at the last minute. And the money that they were going to pay Bees ended up going to Karis LeVert, who, I think they expect to handle some ball handling for them. So ended up not working out with Schroder, but obviously the Kings went and gave him, a pretty healthy salary as well. So Pistons, I believe, did have interest. It just market-wise, it just stopped making sense for them.
Mm-hmm. Omari Sankofa, the second joining us. Omari, can you take us back to the start of free agency? And, we had heard Dennis Schroeder's name, but then it took a while to happen. We didn't know if it was going to be a sign and trade, an outright signing. Would Malik be involved? What can you tell us about that time period and what was going on behind the scenes there?
Yeah, there was just a lot of negotiation back and forth as far as what the sign and trade would look like. There was a lot of reporting about Sacramento potentially getting involved with Jonathan Kuminga and some other deals. And they had a window of time, obviously, where they could finalize details. And I think after a few opportunities passed, it became pretty obvious it became clear that there wasn't really much of a player swap that made sense for both sides. I know that there was a lot of reporting on Malik Monk being a guy who could potentially go back to the Pistons. Just from the Pistons standpoint, I don't think they're a team that wants to take on money right now, especially for the backcourt when obviously they just got Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson, and then you have Cade and Jaden Ivey as well. So in the end, it just didn't make sense for it to be a player swap, and they were happy to get the trade exception out of that. But it just took a little bit for it to resolve. A lot of times, reporting gets out before things are finalized, and it was just an example of the reporting getting out before everything was settled.
Mm-hmm. Omari, I just want to make sure I have this right. Dennis Schroder actually closed quite a few games for the Pistons, right, in the playoffs. He was on the floor at the end of games quite a bit for them, correct?
He was
Yeah.
one of their top minute getters late in games.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When you
and he's just a guy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was
No,
going to
yeah,
say, like, it just speaks to the experience aspect again that he came in on
Yeah.
short notice and was able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I was going to ask you, Omari, when it comes to Schroeder, like one of the things, when the Kings were searching for a point guard, I said, is that when you got a Zach on the team, you got DeMar, you got these veterans, you need a point guard that isn't just going to defer to them and run and stand in the corner. How do you think he'll handle a veteran team with a DeMar and a Zach on the roster?
Yeah, I mean the thing about Dennis is that he's played with so many different types of guys. Like last season, he went from playing, with Steph Curry to playing with Cade, and he's played with Kevin Durant. Like he's played with a lot of different guys over the years, and I think he kind of understands, that there's always going to be a pecking order. You're going to have guys who are going to have the ball and are going to be responsible for generating much of the offense. So. He's been around. I mean, he's come off the bench. He's played next to all types of stars. And obviously, he's stepping into a new, unique scenario. So it'll take some adjustments. But, it's pretty clear who the top guys on that team are. And, he's going to step into a pretty big role as well. So that's going to be the balance he has to find is, step into a big role, but also keeping in mind that, you've got some guys like Levine who can really put points up.
Omari, before we let you go, we know what happened when you guys were here last year in December and Jaden Ivey made the shot and got fouled. Is that one of the most amazing finishes to a Pistons game you've ever seen?
That definitely was. I mean, they were down,
Yeah.
I believe 20 at one point. Now you're down 10 with like just over a minute left. And to win it on that type of 4-point play,
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably, since I've been covering the league, that might have been the wildest finish I've seen for sure.
Wow. How about that?
Real
Omari.
quick, what's the outlook, Omari, for the Detroit Pistons this season? I'm looking at the roster, solid roster. You get Ivy back. What's the expectations for the squad this year?
Yeah, they're hoping that they could take a step forward. Cade, All-NBA for the first time last season. He wants to come back better. They think he's going to come back better. Getting Jaden Ivey healthy. You've got guys like Asar, Ron Holland, who are all going to be a year older. They swapped their vets out, but it's always been about internal growth for this team. And the East is reshaped a bit with Boston taking a step back with Tatum and, of course, the other Achilles injuries that took place with Dame and Tyrese Halliburton. So we have to see where they are in the pecking order, but they got better as the year went on last year. And they're hopeful that they can kind of keep that momentum going and carve out a place next season as the East reshapes a bit.
Well, Omari, we appreciate your time very much. And I know you're a fine writer, but I got to ask, with a voice like that, why aren't you doing broadcasting full time? You got the pipes.
Hey, I do the podcast, so you never know.
Yes.
You never
Okay.
know what might happen in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's Omari Sankofa.